Welcome to Caching Waves. This is your Elliott Wave update for XRP. Now, I'll put on my primary account, but there are a lot of alternatives that could be happening here on XRP, and I wanted to discuss those ideas. If you've been following for my channel, you know I've been calling for a equal length wave to complete here in a WXY, which I think would be the fastest way to a bull market in the future. But there is some options here happening because of the length of time. It's starting to not fit this narrative that we get this one-to-one to the downside, especially if Bitcoin recovers for that higher B wave we talked about. So I'm going to discuss a couple of those options, and there is a potential trade setup available. Not financial advice, just giving you some ideas of what can happen. You make your own decisions there. But one of those I'm considering is the fact that this could all still be a B wave, and this is our completed correction down here at the low. So I'm going to get rid of a couple of these and we'll discuss that option here. So if our low is in here, and this is just all a WXY, like so, and this is our low, then we have to discuss what can be happening here, because this does not look impulsive. There's a couple different options available. One is we're making a larger version of this as a fractal, but I don't think we take off there right yet. I know last time I said I don't think this looks like the fractal. It can be, but I don't think it's going like this and taking off right now. I'll explain down in this area on the 4 hour. Yeah, let's go back to the daily here for a second. So clearly this is a three wave. You can label it as a WXY or an ABC with a triangle in between. There's many ways to count this, but the important thing is this is a three wave move. After that fact, we had one move to the downside. So the question you have to ask yourself is, if this move is correcting this entire move, does that look correct that we can just move to the upside from here? Is that a long enough time frame to correct this three-wave move? And I would argue it is not. It goes against guidelines. It doesn't look correct. It's just way too fast, right? So if we look at this from a logical perspective and say we're correcting this move currently, and our expectation is the next move is to the upside, how does that happen? And last time I suggested, okay, we're making a three-wave move to the downside as an ABC. So we have 3, 3, and then we can make 5 waves to the upside, right, as a larger ABC. And we can move to the upside correctively for the next little while. But even the length of this wave here is taking too long compared to this A wave. And one thing about Elliott Wave, if you're aware, is B waves can take a very, very long time. They can grind for what seems like forever, like over here. When you compare that correction to these waves, it makes sense in the larger view, but during the middle of the correction, you're like, what's going on here, right? Until it completes. So a couple different options I would suggest is, if you think this A wave is going to get defended, then we are in the middle of a B wave, and this B wave is not yet complete. It could actually challenge this previous C wave high up around 94 cents. So what that would look like is, this is our A wave or W wave. This turns into a flat A. We're in the middle of a B wave, and we make 5 up for our C wave. And this all becomes a larger A, B, and then we get our matching wave over here that we're looking for. That becomes an ABC as a flat, or as a running flat or a regular flat. In the running flat scenario, we defend this A. In a regular flat, we just get a 3, 3, 5. So that's an option available right now. I'm tempted to take it myself. I want to see a little better price action at this low. Doesn't appear yet like it's complete. But what that would look like is we would most likely defend this A wave low if we get an entry here, and our stop can be right at that level. And we're actually targeting, challenging this high, which is a pretty good risk reward. If we pivot from here, we'll have to readjust it if it comes a little bit lower, but we'd be targeting around the 1-to-1. The 1-to-1, the 1.236, the 1.382 is our standard targets. Usually take profits at the 1-to-1, but we can expect it to come that high. We can also throw on our expanded B and X zone, which is the 1.236 and 382 extension of this A wave, but to the upside. We'll extend that out. So if this B wave is becoming larger, we can come all the way up here, even to the 1.618 extension of this first A wave in this B wave. And at which point, take our profit, and then we'd expect a 1-to-1 extension of the C wave whenever that B wave ends, which could be right here around 54 cents. So looking at that larger term view, you just get rid of this stuff, but you can see it. Does that look better? This can also drag out in time a little bit. Does that look more correct? So then our waves would look like, we get a 3, we got a flat 3, and then we can get 5 waves up, like so. And then we get our connecting wave over here to the upside. So I'm not sure what's happening at this area, but it looks most likely like we're going to get a recovery here in the short term. That's just my point of view, just the length of time this is taking. It doesn't seem to be matching up with anything. So the longer that takes, the more likely I think we get this B wave higher. And this just becomes our ABC in our correcting larger ABC, in which case we move to the upside. Like so. But we are wrong on this scenario. As soon as we break this A wave low. That's why I wanted to bring it to your attention. Because as soon as we break this A wave low, it's very unlikely that we're still in the B wave. The only way it would be is if we're in a flat to the downside, and it would come up like this. So we wouldn't get near those targets, and then we'd expect follow through to the downside. So that's the trade setup currently available. Not financial advice. But this is such a complex market when we're dealing with threes. We have to look at time, what looks most logical. We can check some divergence as well. We actually have hidden bullish divergence here. You can see between this pivot here, we have lower lows on the divergence. We do have divergence on the daily between the last 2 pivots. How about on the 4 hour? Yeah, we have divergence. How about on the 1 hour? No real divergence on the 1 hour. I want to see what this wave structure looks like. Yeah, it doesn't look amazing, does it? So this would either have to be most likely if we're moving up from here, this would be a wave 1 in a diagonal. So best bet if you're scalping would be to wait for that. But again, out on the daily, if your viewpoint is this move's going to go to the upside, I mean, it's a pretty tight stop to begin with. We're talking the low at around 42 cents, entering at this area here. So it's not too bad. But I'm going to pay attention to this on the lower time frames. I might miss it if it just goes, but I want to see it. I'm more of a scalper. I want to see a nice structure here at the bottom. Really nothing there at the moment. The only way it would be really bullish is if this is your wave 1 and you get like an ABC as a flat, and then this is all garbage over here sideways. So I would personally wait if you're scalping, but if you're a longer term swing trader, that's a pretty good setup. Right now around, I'd have to pull that up a little bit, but around 8-to-1 currently. And if this fails out, this would have to be some sort of leading diagonal, where that's our first wave, third wave, and we're making a diagonal here. This would be more of an A, B, C, and we'd have to fall off a cliff here to the downside. So I wish there was more for this. I'm just looking on the daily, looking at time, looking at corrective structures, and what I expect to happen in Bitcoin. I wouldn't be surprised to see this move to the upside to complete our B wave, our C wave down to match our A, and then we get continuation after that. But won't really miss too much if it takes off on me now. I'd wait for the C wave and the larger trend. I don't really see a way it just goes from here. It just doesn't make sense. All right, guys, that's it for XRP. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.